Okay, round 5, getting to the sharp end. This is not the XO match between the two undefeated. It is the third undefeated, Tom Sonic, being paired down against an X1 M-Dog. So this is a win and in for Tom Sonic, and great news for M-Dog if M-Dog wins. Gives them at least a win and in. Presumably we're in game 3 here. Well, PDBot thinks we're in game 1, and I will say it is turn 11. It's not impossible. Venser bounces Cave of the Frost Dragon. 6 cards in hand for Tom Sonic. Relatively sane life total of 10. 3 personal Howling Mines and a Lalia. It's looking kind of good, actually. The Scythian, you know, is buffed by the flowering to 5 and the Force of Virtue to 5/3, but I don't know if it can really get through, you know. Oh my god! Well, this Lalia just got about 15, I'm guessing 15, no, it's more than 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It's more like 20 triggers. This might actually be lethal. This might actually be lethal. It is exactly lethal if the last card in M-Dog's hand doesn't do anything. That's pretty good. Oh, and Lalia buffs herself 1 more, so it's 1 more than lethal. Crazy. What a turn. What a turn. So I mean, if PDBot is right, that was the last turn of game 1. So we'll get to see what happens in the rest. Don't know if MTGO is going to let me see what happens here. Hopefully. The way that it stays on the match screen is a little disconcerting to me and makes me want to come out and come back in again, so let's maybe try that. Now the watch game button doesn't do anything. Your attempt to watch game was unsuccessful, most likely because the game has already completed. Well, no. That didn't happen. But thanks for trying, MTGO. We'll go around again. Restarting Magic Online. In an attempt to have it show us the remainder of this match. Back in. What do you got for me, Magic Online? You got a match for me? Would be nice. Looking for Tom Sonic against M-Dog. Well, maybe, just maybe, they're still sideboarding. And Magic Online is not failing terribly. Hope that is the case. But I don't know. It's been a minute. I don't know what more you can do than restart Magic Online to convince it to let you watch a match. That seemed to work in the previous round when I seemed to have the same problem. Oh, okay. We're in. So maybe, yeah. I mean, the trouble with an unreliable program is when it's working fine but not doing very much, you can think perhaps there's a problem, but maybe just MDog or Thomsonique really had to have a big think after that epic game one what the sideboarding should be. So Thomsonique for sure has at least 3 of the blue-red discard a card and do damage to all the creatures card, puts a card on top with Temple of Epiphany. So Thalia makes that really quite a far away proposition when you're getting beaten down by 2/1s. And Thomsonique, I guess his deck doesn't really do too much before turn 3 unless it casts kind of natural See the Truth, not very exciting, or the Room that does damage equal to cards in your hand. And of course both of those cost 3 under Thalia, so get your tap lands out there while you can't do anything makes sense. And then interesting, the cascading into See the Truth here pretty bad because you cannot cast it without paying the 1 for Thalia. But I mean, I guess you do need to do something. Maybe just okay. So a Roaring Furnace with the Thalia tax, killing presumably Thalia, but I'm not sure how good this Xenu thing is and whether it needs to go. We're targeting Thalia, yeah, because just makes your Wrath live next turn and many other good things. So Xenu says you can exile it. You gain 2 life, you scry 2. When a legendary creature control attacks and isn't blocked, put it into the battlefield attacking. So when you're in a spot like this, where you know there's no interaction, you can just have a free 2 life and a free scry 2. So pretty upkeep you exile Xenu here because you know that Kythian is going to attack, be unblocked, and Xenu will be back in play attacking, right? So unless your turn 3 is already perfect and you want your scry later, but at some point before combat you might as well have your free 2 life and your free scry 2. Funny card. Okay, so we've got Flowering, which makes everything much bigger, puts enormous pressure on Thomsonique. Oh, interesting. So we did not do the thing with Xenu. Maybe I've misunderstood how it works. No, no. Okay, we just declined. Oh, it would come back summoning sick, I suppose. So this way you can have it be not vulnerable to removal. Well, makes sense. I mean, it wouldn't be like MDog to miss an obvious trick. Yeah, so it's not completely free because once you use it and it comes back, it's summoning sick. Yeah, that makes sense. So we do have the Wrath, which we absolutely had to have. MDog has cleverly played around this to some extent by keeping Xenu in a non-summoning sick way. So if he then is able to attack with a legendary creature that isn't blocked, he'll be able to get a 4/3 flying vigilance with this crazy ability back for free, which is pretty cool. So MDog, many steps ahead of me, does exactly these things that I finally figured out was the whole point of this card in a way in this situation. But the pressure is off, and this is not Boros Legends where you're gonna play Merry with haste or dash the 1-drop, the orc, forgotten his name, Zergo, thank you. So there's a turn off here for Thomsonique. I'm not quite sure what the plan is. I mean, just sort of deploy a bunch of stuff so that there can't be an unblocked attacker is good. I'm not sure there's any like 2-body thing we can do here, but maybe we can Shardless Agent into See the Truth, and off that find a Roaring Furnace. And Kythian has Ward 1 right now, so but a Shardless Agent will block it pretty happily. MDog keeps 2 mana up, one of which is blue. Mana Leak very strong here because Kythian plus Sinu is more than lethal. So Tom Sonic has to offer some kind of defense right here, and if it's the kind of defense that is defeated by a Mana Leak, this might be game. Or Spell Pierce, you know, hard to say, but 2 cards in hand for M-Dog, probably something. Maybe a Challenger to give us max chance to hit a blocker, or a Shardless Agent it is. Shardless Agent hits See the Truth, which I think is probably sort of bad here. I don't know. I mean, it draws you into something for 2 mana that's relevant, hopefully. But the removal spells, there's no 1 mana spell at all in this deck, I don't think. And Kythian has Ward 1. And I don't think there's any creatures that cost 2 or less. So in fact, you know, I think if the Shardless Agent dies or does not resolve, it's game. But I mean, who knows what the sideboard cards are or anything else. But you know, the constraints of the Cascade will mean they won't have boarded in for Mana Leaks. Okay, so it was a Malcolm, although the Malcolm is in a sense lethal because it puts the Sinu in play by being unblocked, and that's 8 damage. So a tackle here seems almost certain to win. Maybe there's a split card which costs 1 mana. Yeah, so here's Sinu. And that's probably game. So we only have 1 X1 player. Oh wait, that ties the match at 1-1. That's not the match, just the game. Okay. That was pretty brutal. Sinu was very good. I mean, I guess, you know, it's legendary for flowering. It's maybe a little tricky to bring back. It's not like it just blinks and comes back and is suddenly attacking again. You have to then deploy another guy, get in with the other guy, have the other guy be not blocked, etc. So it's not insane, and it is just a 2/1 on its own for 2. But an interesting card. Just going to check the result of the other XO. So the Shadowmaker played Hyuga Air. I don't know how you say that really, but I made an attempt at it. And the Shadowmaker won 2-0. So the one definite XO, definite top 8 player is on Mono Blue. It's like it's a little control and it's a little tempo. There's 4 Ancestral Vision, there's a Dig Through Time, there's 2 Forbid, 2 main deck negate. But it's also a little tempo. 3 Tempestion, 3 Malcolm, 3 Stoic Sphinx, only 21 islands, a Repeal. I don't know if Repeal is necessarily a tempo card, but maybe. 4 Vidalcan Shackles in the main, probably pretty important into creature decks that otherwise might overrun you, although possibly slow. I don't know. Anyway, they're certainly 5-0. They've dropped 1 game in the tournament so far, so that's pretty good. Okay, and meanwhile, things have started over here. Tapland versus Isamaru. Isamaru is probably your best turn 1. Okay, and we do actually have a split card. That costs 1, but it's not an instant. So my little dreams of whatever it might have been in the last round, I'm not sure, apply. But yeah, there goes Isamaru before it can get Ward 1 and +2/+1 off flowering, what have you. So ideal play here is Thalia, probably, and it is in fact Thalia. It's different on the play here in that last game Lelia looked kind of bad, but here Lelia would be kind of great, right? 3 power attacking into a 2/1. Okay, here's an Adeline. It's pretty good. So presumably Tom Sonic has something here. Didn't play Lelia, didn't play a Shardless Agent, or maybe just didn't want to play a Shardless Agent into the Thalia because of the whole I can't pay the 1 for my See the Truth issue. Okay, so it's Lagoon Breach, the backside of Fondloch Whale. Puts Thalia away for the moment. But meanwhile, an Adeline and friend have been presented. So it would be interesting to untap and Wrath here. It would be interesting to untap and Shardless Agent into a Seethra. Okay, so we have the ill-timed explosion. Presumably we're discarding something that costs at least 4. Lots of cards meeting that description in this deck between the room and the split cards and everything else. See what we ditch. Horned Lochwhale also fits the bill. And we do discard a Horned Lochwhale and a Shivan Reef. Adeline is no more. Thalia is back. Thalia, you know, once you're starting to hit your 5th land, a lot of your things are creatures, you know, no pals, a bit less scary, but Tom Sonic wants her out of there, just makes everything difficult. Only 1 mana away from being able to cast the Whale here. Only 2 cards left in hand. Can turn the room into a personal Howling Mine if there's nothing better. Kellen is 2nd last card from M-Dog. So both players emptying out a bit, but both players with some resources on board. And maybe we're just going to hardcast the Whale here. We are. We're just going to say, I think a 6/6 is kind of difficult for you and your 1 creature who needs to attack to do his trick. Minus Tirith will allow you to draw a card, but you have to attack with 2 creatures. Monumental Henge can look for a legend, which there are many of in this deck, you can see. Everything we can see almost is a legend, apart from some of the lands. So, yeah. It's only 1 card for M-Dog. If their best play is to activate the Henge, then it's looking pretty good for Tom Sonic, who has a 6/6 and for 5 mana activation, a personal Howling Mine. Yeah, and does just go for that, and then probably doesn't attack. Like, why allow opponent? It's 6 for 2 damage, but it allows the opponent to possibly draw a card. And, you know, you're going to swamp them in card advantage very soon. Thalia's no longer so relevant, you know, find another ill-timed explosion, etc. So it looks pretty good for Tom Sonic to go to Exo and make it into the top 8 alongside the Shadow Maker on Mono Blue. But didn't have a count M-Dog out, really. No Sheltered by Ghosts this season to take out the Whale and start beating down. But maybe some alternative card. Or some sideboard option. Horn of Gondor was in the sideboard of some of them. Okay, so Council's Judgment. You don't have to pay ward with that. I don't know if that matters really, but M-Dog does have 2 other cards. Oh, going for the Howling Mine, not the 6/6. Just too afraid of being swamped by double cards. Here's a Pippin. Now, Pippin will make attacks from the Whale bad, but and allow Kellen to get in possibly to draw some cards. So stuff, but Tom Sonic now up to 5 cards in hand. Did get one off the Howling Mine before it got judgmented. Will of the Counciled. So presumably with options. This might be the last time the Whale has to attack without Pippin being able to blank it. And presumably blocks make no sense at all here. So I guess we don't have a Bloodbraid Challenger or a Laelia, or if we do, we're planning to Wrath first or something because we did not cast them pre-combat. Cromhost Sea Shark, okay. So we're just saying, you know, I think I've turned a corner here. You're on 14, I'm on 19. I've got a 6/6. Nothing in your deck is as good as a 6/6. I've got a flyer. When I cast spells, I make incubator tokens. You don't have anything that strong probably in your whole deck. So bring it on. 4 mana open here, but active Pippin now. Can't really attack without activating Pippin. Okay, interesting. So attacking with Kellen without activating Pippin, although of course still time before blockers to make Pippin pro creatures if we want. Only 6.5 minutes on M-Dog's clock, but presumably this match will be decided before that runs out. So you're blocking with Seed Shark. So allowed the block, possibly going to allow it. Oh, it has 3 toughness. That's important. So it was it was not a suicide attack to draw a card by any means. It was in fact perfectly reasonable, and it revealed Flowering of the White Tree. Now what happens to the card if it's not a creature? You can put it in your graveyard. Chose not to. So we know M-Dog, with no cards in hand, no ability to activate the lands right now, is drawing Flowering of the White Tree, which is going to make all these creatures +2/+1 and ward 1. So a lot depends on what these 3 cards in Tom Sonic's hand are. All Mana in the World, a Chrome Host Seed Shark, a 6/6, which is bigger than any of these creatures even after the Flowering lands, chooses to do nothing. One possibility is a Dig Through Time making an 8/8. That would be pretty gross here. Another possibility is Hardcast Commandeer. Incubate 7. My creatures get +1/+1. Your creatures do not get +2/+1 and ward 1. I mean, the thing about Commandeer is, you know, when it's good, it's good. Always have 7 mana or 2 more blue cards for it, but pretty swingy when it swings. So this seems now almost hopeless for M-Dog, who is facing a flyer that can't block, a 7/7 and an 8/8. Well, I guess they can block with Dennick, give protection from creatures, and sort of absorb 10 of that 15. Well, M-Dog decides he's not getting out of this without more cards, and so gives Kellen the ability to attack. Dennick can always jump and gain life and come back from the graveyard and various other things. Reveals Isamaru, puts it in hand, plays Isamaru. So, an awful lot of pressure from Tom Sonic here. I wouldn't say it's done yet, but an awful lot of pressure. And here comes Shardless Agent into See the Truth. So we're going to Ancestral Recall, making a 2/2, which I believe, well, 2 2/2s, if we include the Shardless Agent as well. I believe that is quite good, especially when you're on 17. There's not really much in M-Dog's deck that comes back from here. I wonder if they're playing a Settle the Wreckage, if that's even legal this season, or something like that. That might give them a crazy top deck out. But 5 cards in hand versus 0, and the board is better for Tom Sonic, I would say. And Tom Sonic agrees and attacks with all things apart from a 2/2 incubator token that potentially could attack. Dennick is going to chump as it's a 10-point buff to the life, and it can come back from the graveyard if necessary, but does fall to 4 even with the 10 points saved. 4 cards in hand for Tom Sonic, and looks like we have our second top 8 competitor, although this is quite a bit of mana. Oh, it's just the Dennick coming back from the graveyard. So now when things die, they turn into clues, which is nice. Kythian can block forever by paying 3 to get indestructible. So there's stuff here. The Dennick is a 3/2 flyer into this 2/4 flyer that's lethal in 2 swings, which is not great. The 7/7 and the 8/8 there's no obvious answer to, although Pippin helps a bit.
You're forgetting about the tree gives the bonus to the creatures.
Say again?
A flowering tree.
Yes, yeah. Yeah. Oh, it's a 3-power. Yeah, 3-power guy. So it's even more likely to, I don't know, be troublesome. And this actually probably just about does it. You can give something protection from sorceries so it lives and can chump block. Everything else is going to die when I discard a 2 or a 3. Most of my stuff is going to live. I'm going to make a 4. Yeah, this is just game I believe. I know what Pippin can really do about it. Can save you 8 life, but it's still going to take 16. Yeah. Okay, so our 2 Exos who will play in the last round just for topping the Swiss are Tima Cascade and Mono Blue Tempo-ish Control-ish. Oh, they actually discarded a 5? I don't know. It doesn't matter. They won. Let's see if there's anything else still going. Think that was it. Okay, good luck in the last round, people that are still playing.